Welcome to OAC's October special episode of our monthly broadcast. I'm Christy Kuna.
I'm James Zervios.
And we are excited to be here with you, joining in our special Halloween episode. You might notice our set's a little different than normal, but we're getting into the Halloween spirit, aren't we?
It's super spooky in here today. We've got spiders, spider webs,
everywhere.
decorations.
Yes. No, and as you not only can tell, you've seen the title of this episode. It is all about emotional wellness and how to be your own superhero, which I don't know, James, I kind of feel like when you go to a costume party and you think I have the unique costume, but someone else has the exact same costume as you, I feel like you ruined it for me, to be quite honest.
Well, I thought you were going to be Batwoman. Obviously, you chose differently.
Well, we're getting into the Halloween spirit. It's just a few days away. Here in our office, everybody is dressed up as your own special superhero. You'll see a sneak peek at this, and maybe you'll get some characters to join
I
too.
think the Hulk might join us, maybe Wonder Woman. I don't know. We'll see.
But like I said, this is going to be a fun episode, but really a great topic that's going to help, really talk about emotional wellness. We have an awesome special guest coming up. But before that...
I guess, Christy, maybe I should say happy anniversary. Because
happy anniversary to you.
This is the official anniversary for the OAC TV broadcast. So excited. Rumors are we're getting picked up for season 3, which will start in January. We'll see how that goes with contracts, but... in all sincerity, it's been a lot of fun doing this, and I think all of you, watching have enjoyed it as well. And so we always appreciate all the interaction in the comments with everybody.
Yeah, so 12 episodes in, we are here to stay, and it's great to see the following continue for this. And we love this time that we get to spend with you once a month at 1 o'clock Eastern. So thanks for taking part in that. But today, to be serious, is all about emotional wellness, and really when we think about this topic. And the definition of that, your emotional wellness is really how you handle life stresses and adapt to change during difficult times. And this is relative right now because after Halloween, the holiday season is it's raring to go. And I think we know that brings about lots of joy, but lots of stress too, and a lot of other factors. So we're excited to have our special guest, Dr. Rachel Goldman, walk through this with us.
Yeah, and Dr. Goldman is a longtime OAC supporter, and we'll talk a little bit more about her in just a moment. And, I think it is very relative, Christy, especially, we always keep talking about the year that everyone had in 2020, 2021, right. But now as we approach the holidays and things are changing a little bit, we know that can be stressful at times for folks. So super excited to dive back into that. And excited to connect with all of you.
Yes.
So hello to everyone who's viewing. We got some people here in the chat. I see we have Michelle from Buffalo. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Looks like we have a couple strongholds, too. It's good to see familiar faces. Shelly is saying hello from Temecula, California. Hello, Shelly. And also we have Liz from Minnesota. I think those are two of our longtime supporters of OAC.
Yes, and we also have Tim here from Texas. So, hey, Tim, how's it going?
Yes, and we also have another Michelle who's shared that she's excited to learn more about emotional wellness. Happy that it can be an opportunity to learn about it, and also when you think about what we can do to help that along the way.
And you're going to want to keep chatting in there because that's how you have the opportunity to get a giveaway, which we are... No, I'm just kidding. Not our fancy...
Not your Halloween decorations.
Not my Halloween gnome,
Those are coveted.
You can have a chance at winning a Stop Weight Bias mug. Ooh. Our words and actions matter. # Stop Weight Bias.
We're giving away 2 of these beautiful mugs, so make sure you are commenting in the comments. Great to interact with folks, but you get some good stuff as well, so keep the interaction going, because part of this whole reason why I've been doing this broadcast, we are really wanting you all to be just as part of this conversation. I know we get the opportunity to talk about these things, but we really are following along and looking at everything you're sharing. So please keep that interaction going in the chat, also for those giveaways as well.
And Christy, not only do we want folks to engage with us in the chat today, but we also want to start off with a quick poll with all of you. As today's topic is going to focus on emotional wellness, we want to get some feedback and some insight from you all as well. So to be a part of this, you're going to want to go to menti.com and enter code 79883945. You can see it on the bottom of the screen right now. And answer the question, what's something that you can do to improve your emotional wellness? I know, Christy, we were talking there about getting better sleep, maybe eating better, all the stress management,
stress reduction,
all of those things. So we're going to talk about those poll results in just a little bit, in just a little bit later. But definitely go and share your insights with us.
So keep that open. We'll have this poll up. We'll look at it right before we bring Dr. Rachel on to speak with us. So take your time. You can use your smartphone if you have it handy, or another tab on your computer, and you can still follow along. So as we jump into first our updates, we always love to share updates with everyone following, just to give you a pulse on what's happening with the OAC. But first, we want to really acknowledge what a great month that we celebrated last month to honor childhood obesity awareness. And this was a great effort to see this really important issue of childhood obesity awareness in the spotlight and having those conversations. For us, we focused our efforts a lot about weight-based bullying. Weight bias is a key part of the work that we do. So that was, great to see so much progress happening on that day and have that heightened.
Yeah, and especially one of the key things that we did that people just loved so much was humanizing it, right? I mean, I think at the end of the day, that's really what the OAC is about, is bringing that voice, that real voice to people that are dealing with these issues. And we had a great story from Seth, his story resonated with so many people. We had so many people share their stories as well. It was just really nice to put a human story behind that effort as well.
Absolutely. Those personal perspectives also were shared by you all viewing. We had this whole episode last month dedicated to this. It was wonderful to hear your perspectives. And, Melanie Hittinger from OAC's team, who leads up our development activity, she actually led this effort because we had a very successful fundraiser as part of this to help us amplify our efforts in childhood obesity. So we want to invite her on. I think we have her on the line here to give us a great update. We see Melanie. Don't be fooled. It is the Hulk. It's not the Hulk. It's Melanie. So don't be so surprised, right? But Melanie, thanks for joining. And we thought you could give folks kind of the update about what happened with this great campaign. I know you worked so hard to really bring this to light for everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm very happy to do an update for everybody. As you mentioned, we did a Stop Weight Bias Bullying campaign during the month of September that focused on raising money to end the bullying that so many children with excess weight face. All of our partners in action who donated to the campaign helped make a difference, and we're excited to announce that we raised more than $7,000 toward this effort. Those funds will go toward programs that educate families about obesity and excess weight, advocate to ensure children have access to treatment, support children through their health journeys, and end weight bias once and for all. We also want to thank Geisinger Health for their generous contribution as our matching donor. Their commitment to our campaigns are exceptional. If you didn't have time to participate in this campaign, no worries. We know Giving Tuesday and the end of year appeal are right around the corner. So there'll be tons more opportunities to give, participate, get involved, and make a difference.
So great. Thank you so much, Melanie. And I mean, astounding that support we received for that campaign. $7,000 raised just in that month alone.
That's phenomenal.
For childhood obesity. So thank you, and everyone who worked tirelessly on this, but thank you again from us to everyone viewing. If you took part in this, thank you for moving that effort forward through your donation. So Melanie, it was always great to have you. I know you've been on a couple times now. We hope you come back and give us more great updates so we can celebrate them.
Yeah, can't wait. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Melanie.
And so we are getting a question in the chat. They would like for us to repeat the Menti code. So I think there's some folks that maybe didn't catch it the first time. So we'll see if we can get that graphic back up so that you can see the code. And it is 79883945. Menti.com, smartphone, tablet, new tab in your browser. Go on, take the poll, and let us know what you think.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm glad to see that poll's still going. We'll look at that in just a second.
So, Christy, we talked about the success of Childhood Obesity Awareness Month in September, and it was also a busy month for OAC on the advocacy front in the month of September. We currently have over 110 TROA co-sponsors right now, and we have 15 new House members that have co-sponsored the bill over the past month. And so, as we continue to make progress on this, we always encourage all of you to support and advocate for TROA. Now, you may be thinking, okay, James, you've asked me to do this. I already contacted my congressman. Like, what else is there for me to do? Well, as we're always getting new congressmen supporting this effort, we want to ask you to go back to the Action Center again, visit it through obesityaction.org/TROA, because once your legislator supports this important legislation, you can then send a thank you message to them, which is also really valuable. So they want to hear from you. They want to know that what they did mattered. And again, if you haven't taken action yet, you want to go to obesityaction.org/TROA and take action on that. And if you have, go send a thank you note as well.
Yeah, and we get new support all the time for that,
Yes.
and it is thanks to everyone's actions. So it does make a difference. So please go do that. We really appreciate your contribution to that. But shifting gears for a moment, we have one of our educational opportunities to report on, and also one coming up we wanted to let you know about. So as you all may have seen, we have debuted a new educational program called OAC Health Talks, and this has really been a remarkable way that we can really present these relative and important topics that we know you care about. Our most recent one was just a couple weeks ago. We debuted on October the 14th, and it featured a registered dietitian, Sarah Mantell, great supporter of OAC, really wonderful, has dedicated her life to patients in this space, and she spoke about why eating less and moving more is not the simple solution to obesity. And as much as it's a very well-known topic, and she really dug into this and helped folks really understand the balance of it all. So if you did miss this health talk, no worries. You can go on our YouTube channel and you can view this at your leisure. It is free of charge. We do that program free of charge for anybody, so definitely check that out. And there is one more opportunity in November and in December coming up. But in November, the next Health Talk is coming up on November the 11th. 7 o'clock Eastern, we'll live stream it. You can chat along, and it does feature the topic of bariatric surgery, everything that you need to know before, after, and after surgery from a patient's perspective, and features OAC's very own Crystal Hartman, who is fantastic. There's not much more to say beyond she's just great.
No, she's amazing. In fact, she's written on this topic in our magazine where she's talked about this, one of the most read articles we've had so far that we've published. She is phenomenal. That'll be another great health talk. And make sure you check out all the previous health talks on the OAC's YouTube channel as well. And speaking of magazine, literally delivered moments ago to the OAC suite here in Tampa, Florida. The fall magazine is here, and if we got it, then that means it's on its way to you all in your mailboxes very, very soon. Another great issue for Weight Matters magazine. We talk about our annual convention in here. We talk about some of the new treatments that are now available for obesity as well. Amazing issue. It's something we know everyone loves getting this in the mailbox, and it's pretty easy to actually become a subscriber, right?
It is, and in this era of digital, we know folks still love that print copy. I get excited every month it comes to, or every quarter it comes to my mailbox. So if you do want this in your mailbox, one of the last standing magazines I feel like that come, but it is a premium access membership benefit. It's just $25 a year. You can access the magazine on our website. We give you a sneak peek at this issue, but it's great to get that physical copy in your hand. So check out premium access membership to get that. Just $25 a year. But exciting, that really literally happened like 2 minutes before we went live. Maybe that's the reason why we were 1 or 2 minutes behind today.
Just getting that delivery.
Yeah.
Well, so we keep saying last month was a busy month. It was a busy month, and October has been just as busy. And we're super excited to talk about a new partnership that the OAC has with Novo Nordisk on a brand new campaign that they've launched called "It's Bigger Than Me." And as a part of this, Christy, OAC had a really unique opportunity to interview the official spokesperson for the campaign, which is...
Well, I get to spill the beans. So this was a big to-do. Long we've said that these important messages, we need really vocal voices to stand up for them. Powerful voices, voices of influence. And so through this campaign, Novo Nordisk does, their spokesperson officially for it is Queen Latifah. And I was just blown away that we had the opportunity to have an interview with Queen Latifah about this effort. We are a partner, but it was a fantastic conversation that Joe, our president and CEO, got to do with Queen Latifah.
Yeah, it really was a great interview. I had the pleasure of actually being in the studio while we recorded that. She is phenomenal, and we have a sneak peek today at that interview. So let's give you guys a quick shot at it.
Let's do that.
I'm Joe Naglowski, OAC President and CEO. I'm excited to be here today for a special interview with film and television star and music icon Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah, welcome to OAC Studios.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you're here today to talk about a new campaign that the OAC is proud to be a partner in called It's Bigger Than Me. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the movement?
Well, the movement is basically about educating people about obesity. And the stigma attached to it, the shame that can be attached to it, and dispelling all of that in a creative way. So I'm partnered with Novo Nordisk to try to make this thing happen and bring this awareness to the world, and hopefully change some people's minds, touch some people's hearts, and make a lot of people aware of what's going on so they can just check in with their health.
Wow, I mean I'm on the hook to hear so much more. I know the full video is on our YouTube channel, but what a great interview and a great way that we could be part of this important movement.
Yeah, it really is a very, very powerful movement, and it was a beautiful interview. She is so passionate about what she's doing here with this campaign. And if you want to learn more about the campaign, you can visit itsbiggerthan.com. On the website, you can check out all of the social media profiles that they have as well. Follow them, join them. Really, really cool. Check out the full interview with OAC President and CEO Joe Naglowski and Queen Latifah on the OAC's YouTube channel.
Yeah, quite an honor. So definitely. Thanks for sharing that sneak peek. I think everyone's now going to be, hopefully, don't go yet.
No, don't leave.
Wait and stay with us here because we're jumping into this main topic today, which is all about emotional wellness, how to be your own superhero. And today is all about that. Our superhero theme is alive and well. But, as we mentioned, emotional wellness means, a lot to a lot of people differently. But really, particularly, we talk about stress. We talk about all the ways we take care of ourselves and our emotional health as well. So I think this is a very, very timely topic as we get ready for the holidays.
Yeah, especially as the holiday season comes upon us. And I think this year you have a lot of families getting back together that maybe didn't get together last year. And so what is that dynamic like? What is the stress level like? We know sometimes holidays can be a little bit stressful sometimes. And so we're really going to dive into this today and talk about that emotional wellness.
Yeah, and I think now's a great time to set the stage. And before we bring Dr. Rachel on, let's take a peek at our poll that we did where you all weighed in on how ways that you can improve your emotional wellness. And so we'll have the results here. There you go. You can see, wow, I think it's probably not surprising, but management of stress is dominating now. We can continue to contribute to this poll if you haven't yet. The code is still up there. But I'm not really surprised by this. Connection is important. We know our community really thrives on connection.
Yeah, I would have thought get better sleep might have been a little bit high. I mean,
that's just you.
That'd be one for me if I could get better sleep. I'll take that for sure.
Well, keep that up. I think this is a great starting point for us to know where everybody's at with this. So with this, I think we are ready to bring our resident expert, Dr. Rachel Goldman. If anyone who has stayed connected to us knows Dr. Rachel for who she is and what she does.
Yeah, Dr. Rachel Goldman is a licensed psychologist and health and wellness expert. Longtime OAC member. You've seen her write for the magazine, write for the blog. She's spoken at convention, and we're so excited to have her here today as well. Welcome, Dr. Rachel. How are you?
Hi, thank you so much. And of course, there's like a fire alarm or fire truck or something right outside my window. So I apologize for that. I don't know if you hear it.
Well, as Wonder Woman, I would think you need to go out and rescue those people, right?
I know. I was going to say, hold on 1 second. Let me do what I need to do. But we're going to switch. I am still going to be Wonder Woman, but I'm also Dr. Rachel today. And I'm so excited to be here with both of you and with your community today. So thank you.
We're grateful for it, too, for taking time. And so, I know this topic is one that is very important to you. You do so much work in emotional wellness. But I do know that you always like to kind of start us off in the right footing for this. So we're going to pass it to you for how you want to lead us through starting off this conversation.
Thank you. And I think I need it as well right now. I'm hearing that siren in my ear. So I really do apologize about that. But yes, I love starting things like this because, we're all busy, right? Like James, you were saying that, it's been a busy month. It's going to be another busy month. It's been a busy day. It's now, after 1 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. And we want everybody to be here with us right now, present. So in order to do that, let's all just take a mindful moment to be present. So let's take a breath together. I will, recommend that if you want to participate and do this, that you breathe in through your nose as your belly expands, imagining there's a balloon in your belly, and then exhale through your mouth as if you're blowing out through a straw while your belly goes back in. And we can do that together. So let's go ahead and take a breath in and out. Let's just do 2 more. Take a breath in and out. And 1 more inhale and out. And I think that's actually a really great way for wherever we are, whenever it is, to be able to bring us back to the present, that's part of stress management, that's part of being mindful, that's part of being present. And we can all ground ourselves simply by just taking a breath.
Oh no, I think that was a perfect way to start this conversation. We've had so much fun, but I think this is a time to kind of recenter ourselves, as you said. And I know that this topic we see is important to folks, but I think maybe let's start by talking about, when we talk about emotional wellness, what is it that we're really talking about? We had a couple factors that folks kind of latched onto, but what is emotional wellness, and why is it so important when it comes to managing our health?
Yeah, and Christy, earlier you said the definition that I was going to share as well, which is the ability to successfully handle life stresses and adapt to change in difficult situations. So if we think about that, it's really about this awareness that we have, this understanding and acceptance of our emotions, and being able to handle whatever's thrown our way, right? So we know that life happens. We know that. Stress happens. There's only so much that we can do to control that. But if we think about how our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all linked, this is exactly why emotional wellness is so important. Because since our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all linked, everything we do impacts our day, right? If we feel a certain way, it's going to impact our thoughts, which is then going to impact how we act. And it can completely change the course of our day, if that's the feeling, if that's the thought, if that's what we're doing. So we really need to be thinking about this in terms of our daily life and feeling this, overall wellness.
And Dr. Rachel, you talked a lot about in there about how like a thought can make you feel a certain way or kind of trigger, a certain motion for the rest of the day. So how do we maintain balance when we talk about lifestyle just constantly changing, right? So let's pretend you're doing a really important interview with this great broadcast and there's sirens outside. How do you focus, in all seriousness, how do we find that balance where it is easy to get thrown off with, today's stressors, especially with the connectivity we all have with things beeping and dinging, and you're kind of pulled in a million directions at once.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's almost like I had asked the sirens to go off, right? So I could give this as an example and use this as an example of how I deal with this. But, taking that breath is the first thing. And what I usually talk about is like taking a moment, taking a pause, taking a break. Because if we think about it, when something happens, maybe that is out of our control. And I'm going to come back to this idea of what's in our control. But if something happens that is out of our control, like traffic, like a siren, like somebody else's reaction, we can't control it. But what we can control is how we react to it. So when that siren went off, when somebody like a family member or a coworker does something that frustrates us and builds up this emotion in us, we have options, right? I could have just left and been like, see ya, there's a siren, I can't do this. Or I could remind myself of what's in my control. So take a pause, take a breathe, and focus on what's in my control. Well, the siren is out of my control, but I can apologize for something that's not really my fault, but it's right outside my window. I can take a breath, and I can try to do the best that I can with the given, whatever the given circumstance is. So I think the number one thing that I tend to say in these situations is to remind yourself that we are all human, remind yourself that life happens and stress happens, and remind yourself to focus on what is in your control, which is your thoughts, to a degree, your emotions and your behaviors. It's how we react in situations. It's how we deal with life. That's the coping mechanisms, right? And actually, there was a research study done years ago at Penn State that actually showed that it wasn't the stressors itself that predicted physical health years later, but it was actually how people reacted to the stressors. So we could all be going through the same stressor, which I think COVID is a great example, right? We're all going through this, although different experiences, but it's how we deal with it. It's how we show up every day and what we do. And I love that, people mentioned the stress management, the sleep, all of those things. That's all part of it. It's what we put our energy towards. Are we focusing on us and our emotional wellness and getting proper sleep and stress management and hydration and all of that? Or are we reacting out of emotions? Are we reacting out of things as opposed to pausing and responding?
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, what you were just speaking about is what we're seeing folks talking about as you're speaking. So, folks are sharing kind of some of their outlets that they have, but I do think control is such an important part of it, and in recognizing that. We did have Linda share, when in terms of balance, she shared that she knows that balance is so important, but it just really is sometimes really hard to maintain it. So what would you say to that, that aspect? Because that's pretty real.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is hard to maintain. And I think the first thing I would ask you, Linda, or anybody that's listening, is how do you define balance? And think about that. And because everybody's balance looks different, because we're all unique individuals and have unique experiences. But then I always also like to add, maybe we can't necessarily find balance, but we can create balance. So maybe our life doesn't feel balanced all the time, but taking that pause and breathing creates balance within us. So finding ways to create balance in a somewhat unbalanced life or world, I think, is the way that we can learn to cope with stressors and whatever's thrown our way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And lots of great things are being shared, but I know that one of the aspects that folks really do talk a lot about is maintaining these healthy relationships. All these factors really do contribute to one another, and they go hand in hand. So, when we talk about maintenance, let's talk about relationships. So how do we deal with maintaining some healthy relationships when it comes to the holidays? We love family, and I think that's a lot of family time, but I think it brings about other senses of stress and drama, and that's just the norm, right? I mean, everything is built that way. But so what advice do you have around maintaining those healthy relationships with your social circles and your family?
Yeah, and I think it's even more difficult this year in particular because, people haven't been socializing that much for the past few years. And now all of a sudden, people are becoming more comfortable re-entering the world, so to say, re-entering these social events and family situations. So it's already anxiety provoking, right? It's already stressful for people. I think the first thing, the first thing that I recommend is, again, to kind of that pause, but to check in with yourself and ask yourself, the last time maybe you were around this individual, how did you feel? What worked for you and what didn't work for you? I think if we can anticipate potential difficult situations, we can then have a plan and prepare ourselves for it. Maybe that plan is boundaries, right? Setting boundaries, putting limits in place. I actually had a conversation with a client this morning about this, and we had discussed, have a plan the day before you plan to go to your family so they don't ask you to come a day early. Like she knows her limit. So have a plan. It doesn't need to be a real plan necessarily, and have a plan for the same thing, going home so she doesn't get pulled to stay longer. So knowing the individuals that you're going to be interacting with, every relationship is different, but think about that individual. Think about how it makes you feel to be around them, and then put those boundaries in place. Those boundaries may also be securing and kind of making sure you have your space, that self-care, right? So even if we are in somebody else's home, maybe for the holidays, or we're seeing them, make sure that you still plan and secure your me time, your self-care. If that's escaping to the bathroom for a few minutes to breathe, if that's the only space you have to take a moment to yourself, if that's planning a walk with a friend to get some fresh air, to get away from those other family members maybe that do cause a little bit more emotion. So I would say think ahead and plan for these things, because it can be very stressful, and we have to remember that our self-care and our wellness is very important.
Yeah, Dr. Rachel, I think you hit on a lot of important tools that people can use during these stressful times. And Michelle in the chat says, "Why is it so much easier to show kindness to others but not ourselves? I struggle with giving myself a break or some grace, but I find that I give it freely to others. I know other people probably feel the same way." So what would you say, like, why do we do that? Why is it that we can see someone else that might be going through a tough time, and we can say, okay, let me give this person a little bit of a break, but then when it comes to ourselves, we say, no, I have to deal with this. I have to be a rock. I can't show that.
Yeah, and I hear that all the time. It's so difficult, and I think part of it is that it's easier to see when it's somebody else. When it's us, we're going through the motions. We're going. We're busy. We don't take the proper moments to pause, to check in and really be like, how am I really doing? I think if we do that, like we would maybe to a friend, we would answer ourselves differently, right? We think, oh, I'm fine, I'm okay, because that's the quick and easy answer. But really pause and check in. We're probably not okay. We're probably not fine. We're running thin. We're running in all these different directions, and people are feeling emotionally exhausted and burnt out. So it's so much easier to see it in others. But if we take that step back and remember, that we need that for ourselves. We can't be available to anybody if we aren't healthy, right? Physically and emotionally. So I think, that's really important. And another good question, or rather like prompt for anybody, would be to ask yourself, what would you tell a friend? I think that's an easy one that we can come up with the answer much quicker, but then accept the fact that you also deserve that. We all deserve breaks. We need breaks. Breaks and rest are productive if we take them. We're not helping anybody by going.
Well, I have to say, your advice was already shared by someone following along, where Elizabeth did share that she tries to treat herself like she might treat a friend. So I think that's a nice, very general rule of thumb, and for everyone to step back and think about that in those situations.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, excellent. So, I think when we think about, again, I think so much that's being shared right now in the chat is that, building your toolbox for what you do. So, I know this is something that you're big on, is to think about your mental health toolbox. So, a couple of things folks have shared as exercise is an outlet for them when it comes to stress management. And even prioritizing self-care at least once a day, kind of having that role. Tim shared that. So, but we're curious what your mental health toolbox recommendation looks like, because you really are so on top of this and know everything that's being brought out about it.
Well, thank you. And I love those ideas, the exercise, the self-care. Those can definitely be part of anybody's toolbox. And I think the key is to really take a moment and ask yourself, what do you see yourself doing at times of stress? What does your self-care look like? Because if somebody were to say exercise, or maybe run, we'll use that as an example, and they're not a runner, don't put that in your toolbox, because you're not going to use it. So first you want to think about, what are you actually going to do? What do you see yourself doing during times of stress? Now, above and beyond that, I like to always recommend a minimum of 3 tools. Of course, you can have 10, you can have more than that, but a minimum of 3. And the reason for that is, if one was, Christy, I'm going to call you. When I'm stressed, you are my go-to person. But you have a life. You're probably busy, and you're not always going to be available when I need you. You can't be my only tool in my toolbox. You can be in there though. If another go-to is running and it's bad weather, then what do I do? So I always say at least one of the 3 to be something internal that we don't need anything else for or anyone else for. And a great example of that is actually the breathing exercise that we did at the beginning. You could have breath work or any other kind of relaxation technique, meditation, mindfulness, any of that in your toolbox. But I would say, when you think about building your toolbox, to have at least one of those internal things. Now, also, I think what a lot of people forget is what should also be in our toolbox are what I call our key health behaviors, or our survival behaviors. So sleep, water and hydration, movement, doesn't necessarily have to be exercise, but some form of physical activity or movement, as well as your diet and nutrition and the stress management tools. So when stress happens, what happens typically is our key health behaviors get thrown out the window, right? That's the time that people, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to make healthy lunch. But those can be the keys. If nothing else, during times of stress, go back to those basic health behaviors. And maintaining those health behaviors is enough. We just have to survive sometimes, and that's okay. But look at your sleep. Ask yourself, how is my sleep? Ask yourself, how is my nutrition? How is my water intake? What does my stress management look like? And what does my physical activity look like? And that's a really good place to start in terms of building your own personal toolbox.
Dr. Rachel, these are all great suggestions for folks. And we even have people putting in the chat right now to be aware of your influences, who's influencing your environment, and then setting boundaries as well. It's just some, really, really great tools. And, even some folks said in there that they're dealing with this issue right now, so this is the perfect broadcast for them to tune into. And I think everything you said today was great. I mean, this is such great advice. So we want to thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you taking a time out from saving the world as Wonder Woman to being on the OAC TV broadcast. And we just want to thank you very much for joining us.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you do, the OAC, both of you individually and everybody. It's really quite amazing. So thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Rachel. Always great to see you. We hope you come back on another broadcast, but we'll see you, I know, online, and we'll share all of your information for folks to connect with you because you do so much of this work, but we'll make sure they get your information so they can follow along.
Great. Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye. There's no doubt that, Dr. Rachel is really such a fan favorite in this realm. She has such a great way to get that information to resonate. But I think that breathing exercise really helped to kind of recenter this discussion to begin with. So I think that's one tool in your mental health toolbox that you can always start with. I actually know a lot of folks who start with kind of the meditation the beginning of the day, and it's really helpful for them. And this was just a snippet of how amazing she is.
Yeah. I mean, she has so many great things to share, especially online. She has a large Instagram following as well. And in fact, if you want to check out Dr. Rachel's Instagram, you can check it out at Dr. Rachel NYC. So you can follow her on Instagram. She shares a lot of health and wellness information on there. Again, fabulous OAC supporter. Always so happy to have her part of what we're doing.
Yeah, and we as an organization continue to tackle this topic in a number of ways. So we'll keep bringing this up. We saw in the chat how we appreciate everyone being so involved in this discussion. I think it really was the right time and really did provide some really helpful takeaways. So stay tuned to our channels for more information to be shared on this important topic in the future.
And we want to thank everyone for chatting today. And in fact,
it's giveaway time.
It's giveaway time. So all of you that have been chatting away, we're super excited. Our first winner of this amazing Stop Weight Bias mug, fall is officially here. This is perfect for tea, coffee, hot chocolate, anything you want to drink, really. And that one is going to go to Scott Tran. So
congratulations,
coming your way, Scott.
And our second beautiful mug, same mug, different person, is going to go to Kristen Sale. Congratulations, Kristen. We'll be in touch to get you your grand prize. But again, this is our anniversary, episode, and it's 12 episodes in. I think we're going strong, and we're coming for another season. So stick with us and invite folks to join in this discussion. We're doing this at 1 o'clock Eastern time. It's typically falling on that third Wednesday, sometimes fourth Wednesday.
Sometimes, depending on schedules.
Yes.
And I think, it is our anniversary episode, and we want to definitely recognize everyone that is a part of the OAC TV broadcast. We have so many folks behind the scenes, Chris Gass, Maddie Manley, Kelly, all the people that really help us drive this broadcast and bring it to all of you. So it's definitely a team effort. I will even say that I can take credit for doing set design with Maddie this week. So these spider webs are very, very sticky.
Going to follow you. Yes. No, it's we do have a fantastic team, and there's a lot that makes this happen. So thank you to everyone for doing that. But thanks for joining us. Next broadcast is going to be on November the 17th at 1 o'clock Eastern time. It's the week before Thanksgiving. So definitely mark your calendars. Before that, we also have our next health talk we told you about. So mark your calendar also for November the 11th at 7 Eastern for that health talk on bariatric surgery, what to know to prepare for it. And lots to be in store. It's going to be a busy year. As we always say, it's going to get a little slower. It never does. It's a good thing. We're continuing this work. TROA's pushing. We're getting so close. So let's keep the momentum going, and we hope you stay connected to all that we do.
Yeah, and if you like today's broadcast, and we see a lot of new names here, don't forget, all the previous episodes are on the OAC's YouTube channel as well. So go check them out. Check out all the different topics that we've covered throughout the past year. So
and make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe.
Because we're doing lots live. So here's a good reminder, again, of all the places you can find us. But there's plenty of opportunities to be involved and to take advantage of our education. So we hope to see you online next broadcast. But from us to you, thank you again for 12 great episodes. We're continuing next month. We're excited.
We're very excited. Thank you very much.
All right. Happy Halloween, everyone. Stay safe.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.